In this lesson of jump statements, we would be looking into various jump statements. In this lesson, we will learn what are jump statements and types of jump statements with their syntax and usage. Now, what are jump statements? They are used for unconditional flow of control throughout the function or in a program. There are 4 types of jump statements: break, continue, go to, and return. Let us start our discussion with a break jump statement. A break statement is used to terminate the execution of rest of the block where it is present and takes the control out of the block to the next statement. It is mostly used in loops and switch case to bypass the rest of the statement and take the control to the end of the loop. Now, break is also used when we are not sure about the number of iterations. In this case, break is used with some conditions. The condition is applied about when the loop is to be terminated, followed with a break statement. Another point to be taken into consideration is that break statement, when used in nested loops, only terminates the inner loop where it is used and not any of the outer loops. Let us have a look at the syntax. It has a keyword break followed by a semicolon. Semicolon indicates the end of this statement. Look at this flowchart. Here, the body of the loop starts. Then the condition to break from the loop is specified. If the condition happens to be true, then it encounters a break statement and it comes out of the loop. Whereas if the condition happens to be false, it do not encounter a break statement and again the control goes back to the body of the loop. The second jump statement is continue. Continue is considered as the exact opposite of the break statement because it forces to execute the next iteration of the loop, whereas the break statement forces to terminate the iterations of the loop. The continue statement interrupts or changes the flow of control during the execution of program. It is mostly used in loops. Rather than terminating the loop, it stops the execution of the statement underneath and takes the control to the next iteration. When a continue statement is executed in the loop, the code inside the loop following the continue statement will be bypassed and the next iteration of the loop will begin as it usually do. In case of nested loop, the continue passes the control to the next iteration of the inner loop where it is present and not to any other outer loops. The break statement and continue statement has one similarity. They are applicable only to the inner loops or the loops where they are used. They do not apply into action for the outer loops or for any other loops. Let us have a look at flowchart. Here, the body of the loop starts and the condition to continue next iteration is tested. If it happens to be true, it encounters an continue statement and it bypasses the further body of the loop and again goes to the loop for the next iteration. But if the condition happens to be false, it executes the remaining part of the body as usual and again the next iteration goes on. Then comes the go to jump statement. This jump statement is an example of unconditional jump used to transfer the flow of control to any part of the program desired. It helps the control to jump from one point to another within a function. The programmer needs to specify a label or identifier with the go to statement in the following manner. Here, goto is used and a label name is specified. Now this label name is somewhere down the code and it has its own block of code. So when goto is encountered, the control jumps to corresponding label and its corresponding block of code is executed. It can also be written as label can be specified first before goto and then goto and label name can be used. Have a look at this flowchart. After the start of execution of the program, here label 1, label 2 and label 3 have their corresponding statements. Now if statement 1 is being executed and it encounters go to label 3, so the control directly jumps to label 3 and statement corresponding to label 3 are executed. So label 2 will be bypassed in this case. Label 2 will not be executed anywhere. Then comes the last jump statement, that is return. This jump statement is usually used at the end of the function to end or terminate it with or without any value. It takes the control from the calling function back to the main function. As soon as return is encountered, the flow of execution stops immediately. If it is within a function, the function gets terminated and the control passes back to the calling function. An important point to be taken into consideration is that return can only be used in functions that is declared with a return type such as int, float, double, char, and so on. The functions declared with void type does not return any value. Also, the function returns the value that belongs to the same data type as it is declared. The syntax for the return is a return keyword followed with an expression. We have used this return statement in the function lesson which we learned previously. Now let us have a quick recap about jump statements. Jump statements are used for unconditional flow of control throughout the function in a program. There are 4 types of jump statements as follows: break, continue, go to, and return. Break and continue are usually used within the loops to stop the further iterations or to skip a certain iteration. Go to is used to jump from one label to another label. Return is used to terminate the function. Here's the end of this lesson. In the next coming lesson, we would be learning what is recursion and recursive functions. Further, we would be learning types of recursion and the concept of stack overflow.